Hi and welcome to our next episode of Clarity Presents. Today we've got Will Murray, who's our Product Development Manager here at Clarity. He's going to be talking to us about all things traveller and technology related. So Will, thank you very much for coming on today. It's great to have you here. So what we want to talk about today is the relationship between travellers and technology. So we've been discussing hearts and minds of how the traveller and procurement can come together to align and have a much better experience for both parties. So what we want to do is have a look at how technology can fit into that. So starting off then, lots more technology in our lives. We've all got our smartphones, apps. It's becoming an integral part of our being. How do you think that technology can help a traveller and increase traveller satisfaction and make their lives easier?
Well, when we're thinking about a business trip, we've all been on them, you're focused on the objective of your trip. So the role of technology for a business trip I see is trying to streamline the travel around that. So this is a means to an end, it's not the real reason why you're travelling. So all of our focus is thinking, how can we make it easier for our travellers to get from A to B?
Yes.
And obviously we have a lot of people with complex journeys, travelling air, rail, taxi, car hire, all sorts of stuff that we provide in our booking tool, and they need to link between them. So there's a lot of focus of how we provide that information to the traveller. I also think it's important for travellers themselves that they can see the value of bookings. So there's a lot of content in our online booking tool, Go to Book.
Yes.
And it's brilliant that you can book air, including our Radius Partners fares as well. So you know that anywhere that you're departing globally, you're getting the best price. All of the hotel content that you'd expect in leisure, taxis and other kind of ancillary products that you want to. So we've created a door-to-door experience, so they don't have to book partially with the travel management company and then partially themselves and have to expense that. So It's everything in one place.
Yeah.
And then thinking on, once the booking's been made, it's making that information available in a very easy to read manner. So we've developed the Clarity Trip Planner that's now live with the Go to Book tool. So you have all of the content and flexibility in Go to Book. But when the booking's been made, and you might have multiple travellers travelling on different itineraries, each traveller gets their own logical trip planner, so they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then thinking about our travel app Go to Mobile, your information's automatically synced, so you can see any day during your trip, the next part of your travel, all the required information. And we've actually linked through with flightstats.com for live departure information for air, and we've linked with Darwin for national rail information. So when you're going to pick up your rail ticket, you've got that collection reference immediately available. You can see what platform you're departing on, and if there's any change, you can see that information live.
That's some really interesting developments there. It feels very much like we're taking ideas from leisure and from people's personal lives there and implementing that into business to make it a bit more streamlined. You know, there used to be a day, didn't there, where you would go for your train or your aeroplane and you'd have a big wad of papers that you'd have to take with you. You don't have to do that for your personal travel anymore. Has that been something that has influenced technology and the advances that we've applied here at Clarity?
I think leisure has led the way definitely in traveller experience in terms of booking tools. So it's very clean look and feel, and when people are booking with us, they're now expecting that look and feel, and we're responding that to make it very easy flowing and clear. But also with the travel information, so you see that all of the airlines have provided their own apps now.
Yeah.
A lot of rail companies, they have their own separate apps. What we've done is we've provided the one single Go to Mobile app where all of your travel, no matter what kind of travel product you're using, is in that one place, and it provides you that information as you need it.
Excellent. Okay. So moving then into a more technological area with travel, that suggests that there's a level of investment there that travel managers are going to have to make, moving people not just from picking up the phone and calling the travel management company, but to going to an online booking tool, to having apps, possibly duty of care products. Are you finding that travel managers are willing to invest in all these areas to make the traveller's life easier, or are you finding that there's a bit of a disconnect?
I see a clear distinction. So travel buyers and travel managers are looking to invest in management tools. Okay. So these are tools that they themselves would be using. So from a duty of care perspective, we've got Go to Track. Right. That gives travel managers, travel buyers the ability to see on a global heat map all of their travellers' live information about their destinations. They can communicate with them if there's any kind of incident. It produces risk information, so trip briefs, alerts, that kind of thing. Okay. So that's something that they will invest in, and then it connects through to the traveller. And also we've got Go to Insight, so that's the MI tool. And we've got a lot of innovation there providing crime stats and risk information, so getting extra data feeds that's not normally seen in MI tools and making better decisions for our travel buyers and travel managers. But on the actual traveller side, so when the end user of the technology is the traveller, booking tools, traveller apps, that kind of thing, that's definitely for Clarity. We're investing in that, and it will always be a free access technology. That's something that we very clearly see. And we see that as a chance to represent our values to the traveller. So by giving them extra benefits, prompts, notifications, keeping them safe, that means that the traveller's learning who Clarity are and what we're about.
Yes, excellent. So there's definitely becoming a synergy then between not just applying technology to make a travel manager's life easier, but also an understanding that applying the technology can make your traveller's life easier and therefore increase that satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a really good thing to hear, that the two are beginning to come together. I mean, you touched very briefly there on the Go to Track product and duty of care. Obviously with technology, there is the ability now using GPS to be able to track people wherever they are on the globe. Great from a moral obligation perspective and ensuring that your staff and employees are safe. Possibly not so great if you're that traveller and feel that Big Brother is watching you. What would you say to that? How can these advances in technology work for both parties?
I think there's a learning exercise for travellers to understand the kind of data sources that we use. So as a basis for information, so thinking about travel app, that uses the itinerary information that you've made with the booking with us.
Yeah.
So there's no extra information that we're trying to source there. Recent development was bringing in rail tracking and rail information to our apps. So thinking of how we can benefit the travellers through using travel information on the Go-To mobile app. Travellers can see rail information. They can even plan their open return journey. So when you've booked travelling out, you might have a meeting and you don't know what time you're coming back.
Yeah.
Because we've got the National Rail departure information, you can quickly look at the timetable and say, okay, this is the time that I want to come back. It will then give you all of the prompts and information about that trip. But thinking about linking it back to the travel buyers, that sends that data through. So it's merging that information there.
Excellent, okay.
Thinking about extra sources of information, GPS definitely is something that we would want to use, and that's enabled in our Go-To mobile app. But we're very, very clear about how it's used. Feedback from travellers themselves is that they don't want to be GPS tracked 24/7. So we have it as a traveller-enabled function. So on the tracking tool, it tracks your itinerary. Users of the tracking tool can request your GPS location, but the traveller actually activates that.
Oh, I see. So that really is putting that power with the traveller.
Exactly.
They control their privacy, they control how much the travel manager can or can't see
about their live location information.
Excellent. Oh, that's a really interesting development then, because there's been a lot of talk and in the media, companies that want to know what the traveller is doing 24/7, and that then brings into question where technology can be a good thing or potentially a bad thing. But that's a really interesting way to do it, to enable the power to be with the traveller and they have the full control over their own privacy.
Yeah, I think more and more through web apps and native apps, we have more communication with the traveller. So we're looking for that feedback, because as much as we serve the travel buyers and the travel managers, the actual end user and the people that really use our products are the travellers. So it's important for us to hear their feedback and also provide more information through our technology as well. So we're looking in the future to start pushing feedback information. So when you've conducted your trip, you can give a rating on the hotel, rating on the flight. So separate to the stuff that you see on the market that isn't quite so specific to your organisation or your industry, we're looking to pool information that's more reliable, more specific, so that when you come back to booking, you can see the type of feedback that your peers have given about certain airline, certain hotel, and that helps your buying decisions.
Excellent. So we really are trying to put the traveller at the focus point of all our technological advances, and we're trying to enable the two, the traveller and the technology, to come together.
Absolutely, and I don't think they're mutually exclusive at all.
No.
Because we're looking to improve the traveller experience and we're representing them more, travel programmes will have higher level of compliance and satisfaction, and that makes them, it provides better cost savings on the travel programme, gives them better abilities when they're speaking with suppliers, so it helps everybody.
Absolutely. That is one thing that we've touched on in episode 1 with Pat, our chief exec, about the relationship between control and cost savings, and that a happy traveller is more likely to stay within policy, which is great. And I liked what you said about the feedback, that we're actually listening to the traveller, taking that feedback, and from that feedback developing our technological offerings, which kind of brings me on then to ask, what next? What is happening at Clarity? What are the new technological offerings that we've got in the pipeline?
So we've done a lot this year already. I mentioned about the trip planners that are now intelligent, depending upon the travel booked in GoToBook. We've got the rail in the travel app. Coming next year, we're looking at making more access for mobile booking. So thinking about the way that travellers book now, there might be a case that you're not ready to book the taxi, you might not be sure about the certain hotel. It's important for from our technology perspective, if that traveller arrives in destination, decides, wait a minute, I need a taxi, maybe late at night, or the hotel might not be in the location where they end up that day, they can very easily on their mobile phone book that extra travel item and then have that invoice through and managed financially as well.
Excellent. So again, looking at that end-to-end, making life easier for the traveller and for the travel buyer.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Will. Thank you for your time and for sharing some insight on that with us. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Next episode features Tim Page from Concur, and Tim is going to be talking to us about the balance between personal and business. We look forward to seeing you then.